Okay, this is a video that you can tell obviously is not going to be a very happy one. I really didn't want to make this, and I still really don't want to make this. I'm hoping that the end of this is going to be happy. There's going to be a happy ending to this video, but unfortunately, I don't think such a thing is going to be the case. I'm shooting this. First of all, I'm shooting this video with my iPod right now. This new iPod, thanks to this. This camera, as you can see, is starting to really get long in the tooth, as you can probably tell. And its focus mechanism is really, it's just lost the plot. It constantly searches, and it can't focus properly at all. So I'm trying to use that as little as possible. And hopefully I'll have enough money by next April that I can finally get a replacement for it. That thing lasted about 2 years. Let's see, 2 years, right? Yeah, 2 years. I got it in 2013, so it'll be 2 years once that finally rolls around. Probably even more than 2 years, just a little bit. But then again, we go ahead and look over here at this Handycam, which is from 1999, if I remember correctly. It's a CCD TRV72, if anybody wants to go look that up. But like I said, probably 99, and the focus mechanism still works. Everything still works about it. And that camcorder was sitting in a drawer for probably about 10 years before I got it. I'm not even going to... not kidding. So that this camera over here doesn't work after about 2 years is kind of pathetic. Even still, that's not the point. The point is this Tecra 8000. As you know, I recently got on eBay, and I recently paid a little bit too much for on eBay, this Tecra 8200. Great system, I like it. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the wireless hardware installed, but I can certainly do that if I want to, and if I feel like finding my Torx head screwdrivers. And then, of course, I've got, get that out of the way before I have the computer aficionados bashing me in the comments, the Tecra 8100 that used to be in the place of this, and that still works perfectly fine. But this, the 8000, which is radically different than both the 8100 and the 8200, while there was a slight difference between this and this, there's a huge difference between this and the 8100. This one is not so fine. Let's see if it's going to do it on camera here once again. Of course, knowing my luck, it's probably going to boot up just fine now. Or it's going to lock up on the post screen. This is one of the other things that it does. I'm sure you've seen it before. But I want to get it to the point where it tries to load the grub menu. Yeah, it's not going to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to have to tell you what it does. So what happened is, I started it up today. Yesterday, I tried to start it up for my early morning radio broadcast that, unfortunately, if you were looking for an announcement on YouTube, there wasn't one. I wanted to make one and then forgot about it. I wanted to use this, and it locked up in both Linux, which it's been doing for a long time, but then I tried to go into Windows, and it locked up under Windows too, and it has never done that before. So I just shut it off, didn't think anything of it, sat it on this table where it is right now. I power it up today, go into Linux, and file system check complains that there's a inconsistent file system, bad blocks, blah blah blah, whatever the heck. Checks the file system, it finds errors and reboots the system, then it checks again, it's good, boots into Linux. I go to try to load the Synaptic Package Manager, the system freezes. Alright, that's all fine and good. Hit the reset switch, and the next thing it does is it just displays a bunch of lines of just grub. Over and over and over and over again, and then freezes. With the disk light on solid. And that's where we are right now. I have no idea what's wrong. I really would like to think that it's this hard drive, but I think it's something on the motherboard. Because this is, and let me tell you why, this is one of the very first. This is a real early revision. This is from, let's see, when would they have introduced this? Let's figure that out. Then I can actually know if I'm right or not, or if I'm just spewing garbage. One other thing that you should note is the fact that the battery no longer works. or at least it no longer charges. However, well, now it's not doing it, of course. It used to give me a couple seconds of runtime, but now, of course, it probably won't do that. So let's see. What is the date code on this battery? I can't remember offhand. Battery on the CD-ROM drive, because this is the original CD-ROM. Oh, of course. Fortunately, I don't think this part is screwed in. Doing this one-handed is not easy. Yeah. Okay, I just looked, and what I found was not too conclusive, but if it says 98 there, it's a relatively early model. If this 96 date that's here is correct, and that's around the time of the introduction, then we've got a not-so-new machine. Not so original production, but either way, it could be something wrong on the board. I think that there's probably something wrong with this motherboard, because it's got a few other quirks. I've tested 2 of these before. There's this one, which was in really good condition when I first got it, and then there was another one, which was basically in sorry condition. Broken hinges, bad battery, missing doors. It was missing this right here, and missing a couple of other pieces. But it ran if you were to have 1 stick of RAM in it, which tells me that there were bad solder joints on it, which could be another problem of this. Because it works when you warm... Last I knew, it worked if you let it sit and warm up. So for all I know, this all could be happening because the temperature's dropping, and it's only about 22 degrees in here. I don't want to let this thing sit here and die. I don't want to let this thing go and move on. But I might have to, because I don't know how much more of my time I can devote to trying to get this thing running again. And here's where you guys come in. If any of you see a Tecra 8000 and you're willing to pick it up and get it to me for nothing, basically, I'm not really willing to pay any real money for something. The shipping costs, maybe, depending on how much shipping is. But if you can find one and you're willing to get it to me, please do. Serious inquiries only, of course, and I'll see if I can possibly get it here. Because I would love to get this system running again, or at the very least use parts from this one to get another one running. I have a feeling that this battery is still good, but the charging circuit's just gone too far south. The other thing that it does, that the other one that I had didn't do, but I think it might be a BIOS thing. The one that I had before this, or the one that I had also seen in addition to this, was definitely a newer system because it had a Windows... First of all, it had a Design for Windows 2000 sticker on it. And second of all, it also had a slightly different BIOS that had a few more options on it. So it was probably a newer BIOS. That one didn't spin the fan up whenever it was charging the battery. This one does. I think B. Bishop PCM's Tecra 8000 also does the same thing, because he did mention something about the fan spinning. So I don't know. Maybe it is a common trait between all of these things. Battery is definitely screwed. So I'm not pleased about that, but you know, what are you gonna do? There isn't much that you can do. At the very least, it does still power on, I guess. It'd make a nice museum piece, but it probably won't ever be a functional system ever again. Unless, maybe, you know what, let's leave it on here and see what it does. Oh, look at that, it's trying to boot now. Let's go into Windows. We'll see what it does. Not clunk yourself. We'll have to see. I highly doubt that it's going to work for very long. It might have just locked up now. No, it's still doing something. Like I said, clunk yourself. Yeah, these TravelStar drives are not exactly the greatest drives ever made, and they're dropping left, right, and center now because they're old. And most of them were used in business environment systems where they were running around the clock. At least this one would have been. This one would have been used to diagnose networking stuff, because that's what the other one was used for. Diagnose various networking things. That 8100, I don't even know what the heck that was doing. Yeah, there's something wrong here. This was the drive, by the way, that was in the Dell. So it probably wasn't in a system that was used for networking. I just realized that. The original drive in the system is sitting on the shelf, because I took it out. Clunk yourself! Let me log in here and see if it lasts long enough for me to do something. Yeah, it's never done that before. Oh, shut up about the date and time being invalid. So, yes, this drive is also very much headed south. I'm probably going to have to find a replacement for it. And there are no new, I'm going to say this right now for anybody that's looking to buy IDE hard drives. Western Digital was the last manufacturer of parallel ATA drives, and they stopped in, I believe, January of this year. So if you're looking for brand new IDE drives, you won't find them because they're not out there anymore. Unless there's somebody that grabbed old stock and is now selling it. Yeah, I think this drive is done. And you know what else? I don't happen to have a spare. So it's going to basically have to sit there and do nothing. We'll see. We'll see what I can do. We'll see if the system lasts under Windows. Yeah, it froze again. Not fun. Not fun at all. I think this time I'm going to let it sit here and I'm going to let it run for a little bit and I'm going to see what happens. Because it usually starts working once it warms up to a certain point, or once it warms up to a certain point and you reset it. But even still, I think there is probably very likely something wrong with the memory. So that's either something wrong with the memory or something wrong with the hard drive. But given that the hard drive light is not on right now, it could well be the memory. Bad solder joints on the memory or something like that. So if it does get its act together and start working again, I will be running memtest on it. But until then, I'm going to let it sit here and see what it does. Uh-oh, something went wrong here. Let's see if it still posts. It does not, so that's what went wrong. Looks like I gotta let it sit some more. Early morning computer projects. It's been on for a little bit. Let's see what it does this time. It shut itself off. Yeah, there's something wrong. It's dead. I think it's toast. There we go. It's doing something now anyway. See, can it boot Windows? Fan's on, so doesn't smell really good, but let's see, is it going to boot? My guess is going to be no. Work, doggone it. I was doing something. It was doing something. I saw the CD light go off. It's reading the hard drive. No one wanted to let the darn thing's gonna blue screen again. Don't clunk yourself. Yeah, I think this drive is toast. When it booted. So let's see what happens, if I can do anything with it. Well, it's still working. So, I don't know. Let's try Linux and see what Linux does. In a way, it actually reminds me of an old Sony TV that we used to have that would just, until it warmed up, it would display lines on the screen and have the background of a black and white image of some random channel on it. Of course, that TV eventually died, so probably not good news for this computer, to be perfectly honest. But let's see what happens. Alright, that's better. I thought I hit reboot. I guess not. I guess I must have hit shutdown. Oh well. One good thing about NT is that it lets you do that. Okay, let's try it. Booting the kernel. Oh, drive's clean this time. Okay. Still working though. You can see the pink of the display a lot better on this camera than you can in real life. The backlights. Backlights are clearly failing, but oh well. If you're really wondering how long I work on these things for and how late I'm awake, there's your answer. It's booted though. I'm amazed Linux got the date and time wrong. Great. Let's see if we can do some updates. That's what I wanted to do in the first place. Just not happy about it. Let's see what happens. Well, that was faster than I was expecting, but it is still working. It's not doing anything spiteful. Well, it worked. Let's see if it can do it again. Without exploding. No, I guess not. But it works. So I can't tell you what's going on here. I don't know, let's go to something. I don't have sound, so it wouldn't matter. I can't put sound on this anyway. It's too early in the morning. I shouldn't even be making this video right now, because I'm talking in it. I just got a bad idea. I could probably use this at work for some things, but I don't think I will because I need battery at work, so. Because there isn't an outlet everywhere I am. Okay, it made a couple passes of memtest 86. So that is not the issue. I'm not going to see if the hard drive is the issue. Let's see. Let's see if I can find my disk. You think this one will work? This new version? We can find out. Enough of the floppy disk drive. CD-ROM. Come on. Show me something good. There we go. Just give me that. I don't care. This is going to take forever. Well, that passed too. Yes, I'm positive. I don't know. Let's see if it still boots. We'll take that floppy disk out of that drive here. And, well, I like how computers have reset switches. I could just hit Control-Alt-Delete, but we'll just do that. Take the CD out of the drive, of course. Obviously, it's probably not showing the exhibiting the problems because, first of all, I'm trying to debug the damn thing. Second of all, it's probably because it's warmed up sufficiently, and that's why it didn't do it there. I should probably have tested the hard drive when the system was cold. And I might still do that, and see what happens. There are likely no updates today, but I figure what the heck. As part of my test, I might as well try it. Well, no, it looks like it's working. So, I don't know. The mystery continues, I guess. I have no idea what could possibly be wrong with this system.